John Jacobs' classic book, Practical Golf, was used almost verbatim as the basis for the British PGA apprenticeship program information to teach us how to teach. I'm talking 55 years ago. And he was a master of teaching golf. You know that have a great deal of affection for what he did. And in the picture that I'm going to show you, he talked about alignment. Now, obviously, that's super important. It's viewed as one of the uh, basic formulas that you have to employ, that you go to first before you do anything else. How do you aim? And of course, it involves ball position as well. But he was illustrating it particularly from the point of view of how you point yourself. Now, I'm in the wilds of Portland, Oregon right now, and I'm sort of off duty. So I don't have a golf club around. But as we all know, anything shaped like a golf club is going to get swung. And so, perfectly reasonable that I do this with an umbrella, which we needed, by the way, today. So he pointed out in that lovely illustration that there are parallel lines, and the lines are essentially across the toes, knees, hips, and shoulders, and that they parallel the line to the target. He's, of course, completely correct. I also liked the fact that it was all very angular, because if we take our normal erect posture and tip over correctly and crouch, we haven't sort of slumped, which is not particularly effective in golf. We want to keep those angles very linear. Now, there was a movement about 30 odd years ago, perhaps a little longer, to call it parallel left because they looked at still photos of champions and it very much looked as if their shoulders and their general alignment was aimed 20 yards to the left of the target because on a two-dimensional picture, that's sort of how it appeared. And it was actually popularized for a little while to aim 20 yards or 10 yards to the left. A load of nonsense, really. We should be aimed the distance that you stand from the ball to the left of the flag, which is essentially at the flag when you get 150 yards away or even 100. And so you tip over, crouch, and look to particularly aim the shoulders parallel to that line. If you look at the traditional information from many years ago, they didn't have the line across the toes parallel to that line. It wasn't completely fashionable. And in fact, there were many occasions where you could see what they call a close stance with the right foot drawn back for the driver. And particularly with Harry Varden, you could see that even with a driver, he had the left foot drawn back. My point being that all of those things tend to work. And in fact, a competent golfer can stand with their feet in all sorts of positions and hit a perfectly good golf shot. It's much more to do with aligning the shoulders. And so many good golfers, Jack Nicklaus, of course, was famous for it, would stand behind the ball and find a mark just ahead of the ball to aim over. And he'd walk around and occasionally have to start over and make the crowd laugh by saying, I've lost my mark. And so you would then walk up and parallel your shoulders to the line formed by the ball and the marker, which shouldn't be more than about a club length ahead of the ball, because you don't want to have to turn your head to look at it, because that starts to meddle with the alignment of your shoulders in a way that's unhelpful. So somewhere here, find a mark, make sure your shoulders parallel that line. And frankly, I've done that for years. I barely ever look again at the target because that has worked for me.